What is going on, everybody? This is your Warrior, and today I'm bringing you guys a gaming topic that's being debated a lot lately, and this is whether or not Overwatch is a copy of TF2, and you know which game is better, that whole shebang. But today specifically we're going to be talking about the characters, and it's quite clear that Overwatch did borrow some ideas from Team Fortress 2, and I just kind of want to go ahead and compare the similar characters. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want to see a full tf2 verse Overwatch video, in my opinion, on which I think is better, let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to hit that like button and maybe even that subscribe button if you're new, but let's get right into the video. Now, like I said earlier, Overwatch and Team Fortress 2 are very similar games, and I do believe Blizzard borrowed some things from Valve in their game, but today we're just specifically going to be focusing on the very similar characters in some cases. And now, while Overwatch does have a much wider selection of characters that have their own spice to them, there are some very, very clear parallels between the two games, and I just want to go ahead and point those out. The first two characters that were just blatantly obvious to me was Junkrat and the Demoman. Both have a very similar playstyle as well as a very, very similar primary weapon, and you can clearly see the design similarities between Blizzard's Junkrat and Valve Demoman. The next huge similarity you can draw that's very, very clear to me is Torbjorn, or however you say it, but he's a dwarf, and the engineer in Team Fortress 2. Now, Torbjorn in Overwatch can build a turret with his hammer and slowly upgrade and build the turret up by hitting it with his hammer, as can the scout in Team Fortress 2. That was just way too similar of an idea to be able to pass up. As well, Torbjorn, I really hope I'm saying that right, but he can throw down armor for his teammates, which is a little bit different than the engineer, but the engineer can do things like put down the little health stations or whatever to give their teammates ammo and health, as well as build teleporters. So those are just two very similar things where they're both building things to help their teammates, as well as being able to build the turrets. The next very, very similar characters that we have is Overwatch's Pharah and Team Fortress 2's Soldier. Now, both of these have a rocket launcher weapon, and both can launch through the air to get around the map more quickly. Now, with Pharah, you don't rocket jump like you do with the Soldier, but you still can boost in the air to move around the map more quickly. And that, in combination with the rocket launchers that they both use, just made it too clear that they were similar not to put this combo in the video. The next combo that I have for you guys is going to be Blizzard's Tracer to Valve's Scout. Now, both of these characters are very similar. The entire point of the Tracer is that she can move around the map very quickly, and while not dealing a lot of damage, is hard to hit, and is going to come in fast and strike. And that's the same idea with the Scout in Team Fortress 2. Moves very quickly, has some movement abilities that other players in Team Fortress 2 don't, and as a result it's hard to hit. While the Scout doesn't deal a lot of damage in Team Fortress 2, it's still a pain in the butt because of how quick it is. And that the combination of those two, when you look at Tracer, her entire abilities are based on how quick she can move compared to the Scout. His ability, his main perk in TF2 is how quick he can move. It's very clear that these two characters are another pair of Overwatch and TF2. The next combo I have for you guys is Widowmaker and the Sniper. Now, while these characters aren't exact copies off each other, they're still the only characters in both games that have a sniper rifle, and because of that, it's just very clear that they're each other's matches. Maybe you can argue that Widowmaker wasn't Blizzard copying off Valve, but you cannot say that the Widowmaker and the Sniper are not similar. In Overwatch, you have Widowmaker, who has, when scoped in, a sniper rifle as well as a submachine gun when you unscope her gun. And then in TF2, you have the Sniper, who has a sniper rifle, and you can switch to your secondary, which is often a submachine gun. So just two very similar characters there as well. The next two characters we have on our list are both healers, one being Mercy and one being the Doctor. Mercy in Overwatch and Doctor in TF2. Now, both of these characters are healers that obviously are going to follow around stronger characters and heal them, so that the stronger characters can stay in the fight and keep pushing on the point, as well as defend the healers. Now, both of these players, when you activate their healing ability, a stream from their gun goes to the player they're healing and supporting, making it very clear who they're supporting. It's just very clear that Blizzard borrowed some ideas when making Mercy, because they're just both very similar and a very clear match for this list. Now, these last three were a little bit tricky to me to find: a heavy match, a spy match, and a pyro match, which those are the three TF2 characters I haven't named, and I couldn't really find an exact match for each of them in Overwatch, but I did find some similarities with other characters, so let's go ahead and get into those. Now, like I said earlier, while this is not an exact copy, I would like to compare Overwatch's Bastion to Team Fortress 2's Heavy. Both characters have large amounts of health and are slower, but when using their turrets are dealing large amounts of damage. You can see Bastion has an ability to turn into a stationary turret with a Gatling gun that deals large amounts of damage and has lots of ammo. And you can see the same as Heavy. His primary weapon is a Gatling gun as well, but he's mobile with it, but like I said, has a lot of damage and a lot of ammo. And as I said earlier, both of them have a lot of health and are in the tank category of heroes or players, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the next two characters that I'm going to compare are Winston and the Pyro. Now, a lot of you might disagree with me about this choice, but they're not very similar to each other, besides the fact that their weapons are similar in some ways, where they kind of have more of a short range but wide spread, and they're used well for clearing out some of the pesky, kind of fast-moving characters, and just keeping them away from you and your team. So Winston, when I use him to kind of keep away the Tracers and the Genjis and the Hanzos and the faster moving characters that are kind of hard to get rid of. Whereas in TF2, the Pyro is good for getting rid of the Scout and the Spy and characters like that are kind of fast moving and like to kind of get behind enemy lines, but the Pyro will just sweep them out from behind. Now, the last TF2 character is the Spy, and I really honestly couldn't think of a character to compare him to. You know, there's not a whole lot of really any similarities in any of the other characters in Overwatch that you can directly compare to the Spy. But if I had to absolutely choose one, I'd say Genji. And that's just for no reason in particular. They just kind of remind me of each other. They both use blades. They're both quick and agile, and they're honestly both a pain in the butt to fight against. So if I had to choose one for the Spy to compare to from Team Fortress 2's Spy, I would compare it to Overwatch's Genji. But this is just my opinion, so I want to know what you guys think. Let me know your Overwatch and Team Fortress 2 character matchups down in the comments below. As well, guys, like I said, I may be bringing in an Overwatch vs TF2 video, and just sharing my opinion on which game I think is better. But as well, guys, I do want to make it clear that I understand that Overwatch does have a total of like 21 characters, and so not all of their characters are direct copy off Team Fortress 2, and that they do have a wide selection of characters, and many of those characters are original. I just want to make sure you guys understand that. I understand that. But yeah, that's the video for today, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to drop a like down below, and this is your boy More signing off. I'll see you guys next time.